RDU.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How come I don't see your marketing?
Yeah.
Are you really here to contest?
On the polling day, right, I was assigned to Taman Jurong. Taman Jurong is really Tharman Jurong.
President Tharman, if you're listening in, that is Mr. Ravi Philemon. Mr. Ravi, you have a habit of tackling the big guns. Your team is up against Min Shanmugam.
Yes.
In Nisun.
Yes.
Oh, is this you're deliberately going after all the older guards? Welcome, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us on another very special edition of the Rishi Report SG60 podcast series. For those of you who have been tuning into my show since 2020, you know that this is typically a show where we turn some news headlines into punchlines. Typically, we have broken news served up by broke comedians. I'm very happy to share that today there's only one broke comedian in the studio. That's me, because this election season, I have another special guest joining me. This is none other than the Secretary General of Red Dot United, Mr. Ravi Philemon. Welcome to the show, Ravi. Thanks a lot for joining me in the studio.
Thank you. I'm a great fan, so thanks for having me.
Very sweet of you, Very sweet of you. I mean, I think when we talk about election season, you have been working really hard. You've been, I've seen, you in your rally speeches online. I've seen that you've had to do a lot of press conferences, walking the ground. Tell me first thoughts on how it is going. We are midway through election campaigning season.
Tiring, but exciting. It's always like heartwarming when people, like last night I was having late supper, like 10:30-ish, and a group of people just rushed over to my table, say, thank you for speaking up for us. Why don't you take pictures for us? So it's very heartwarming when people do that. But of course, it's very, very tiring. I think you can see that my eyes are bloodshot.
Oh, right? Boy. Our Spotify audience can't see that, but can you feel the blood in his eyes? No, I can imagine it is a very exhausting time.
It is.
More so, I'm guessing, because you are running a team that is an opposition team. Tell me a little bit about some of these challenges, which we have some information about, but I want to hear from you. What are some things that you're facing in terms of challenges right now, this campaign season?
Well, most of the candidates that we have fielded in this election, they are first-time candidates. There are very few of us who have had prior experience of being candidates. So there are many things that the newer candidates have to learn on the fly, right? Like how to talk to the media, how to present themselves to the media. How do you write a speech? How do you deliver a speech? What are the things to say? What are the things not to say? I mean, even simple things, right? Or simple words we use every day, which may or may not necessarily be bad words or whatever. Like, for example, bullshit, right? But you can't say bullshit when you're on
as a potential MP.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me ask you. Okay, while we are going there, just a point of clarification: is it true that Red Dot United is fielding the second most number of candidates in opposition, just behind the Workers' Party?
I think that's what the Prime Minister said, and the last I counted the numbers.
Correct.
That's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because if wrong, then who do we pofma? Do we call you or do we call PMO?
Yeah.
No, wow, that's quite impressive, given you're saying that this is a large slate of new candidates. What has the growth journey been like over the past 5 years for RDU?
It's been beyond my expectation, actually. I always say that the Red Dot United is an accidental political party. We never set out to form Red Dot United. We got our registration 8 days before the 2020 GE was called. And we quickly formed up. We had our manifesto ready. I mean, how all this happened is after my contest at 2015 GE, where I was a candidate of the Singapore People's Party, Mr. Chamsitong's party. But I was basically an independent candidate. I ran my own campaign, got my own volunteers involved. I raised my own funds, pretty much took the SPP logo, put it there, and my face next to the SPP logo. I said, what, So, so after that experience, we felt that Mr. Cham is a great man. I'm full of admiration for him. He's one of the heroes that I look up to in the politics of Singapore. But I realized that SPP is a vehicle for Mr. Cham to be elected over and over again. And it is very difficult for such a vehicle to be transformed to become a movement. And that's what we envision. That's what we envisioned as a group, the group that was helping us, that we wanted a movement that is not only active in between elections, because, most political parties, they really have nothing to do in between election if they don't win the constituency, right?
So you're saying that if they don't win the constituency, they become dormant in a way?
Semi-dormant, because you are not responsible to the constituency that you contested in. You did not get their mandate. So you try to be engaged as much as possible. But, everybody got day jobs, right? And there's no way. I mean, there's this one time, this many years back, when I was helping Jeanette Chong Aruldos in a campaign, and she went to this market in the old airport road, right? And there was this noodle seller who told her that, you're just coming after so many months. Mr. Lim Biao Chan comes here every day. And then my thought was, of course Lim Biao Chan is paid $15,000 every month to come every day and say hello to you, But whereas...
And that's when he received the mandate.
Right.
And he was the MP
Yes,
for...
he was the MP, yeah. Whereas Jeanette, she still was working as a lawyer. And you know how busy lawyers are. And if she makes time from her business of her career to come and be involved in politics and in social affairs, it shows that she has a heart for the people. She has a heart... she has a view on the direction that the nation should go in, and that is why she has put herself forward. So sometimes it is difficult to explain some of these things to citizens, because they put us at the same level as an elected MP, right? I mean, it's even this election, we are facing the same kind of struggles.
Tell me about them.
Because, we have fielded candidates in 4 different constituencies: Jurong Central, Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC, Holland Bukit Timah GRC, and Nisun GRC.
Nisun is where you are running?
Yes, I am.
Together with your team of 4 other candidates, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So in Holland Bukit Timah GRC, it's a totally different demography from the other 3 constituencies that we're running in the sense that 60% of the voters in that constituency live in landed property. And so we did our math. We have number crunchers, we have researchers. We looked at the math and we said that, what's the point of putting up posters near reservoirs and golf clubs? So who's going to look at all those posters, right? So we printed fewer posters. One, of course, is because we want to be friendly to the environment. I don't want to have so much wastage. And of course, the more pragmatic reason is, who's going to look at that posters, And so we chose, of course, there are some areas where there are people who live in HDB flats and all that. So we put up the posters there. But we decided that for that constituency, we will run mainly a digital campaign, because we thought a digital campaign will be useful in that particular constituency.
This is referring specifically to the Holland Bukit Timah GRC.
That's right, yeah. So we got some feedback from voters. It's totally understandable that they are seeing Dr. Vivian's posters, but they're not seeing our posters, asking if we are really serious about contesting.
Okay. So the question comes up that, hey, RDU, what's up, man? How come I don't see your marketing? I don't see your physical marketing. Are you really here to contest?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And then we have to be... I mean, our usual explanation is that, we are serious because we put down $60,000 as a deposit for the 4 candidates, which we will forfeit if we do not get a certain percentage of the votes. Yes, we are serious because our candidates have taken leave for 2 weeks. They've probably burnt up like half their annual leave now, 3/4 of the annual leave, you see. And yes, we are serious because there are opportunity costs and risks that the candidates will have to bear or put up with because they are opposition candidates. And so we are serious because look at our track record. Look at the kind of candidates that we have put up. We are not going into this blindly, but we do have a strategy. Our strategy is to go digital. Our strategy is to make sure that people hear us. I think that's the most important thing, that people hear us. We're not doing this for show. I mean, people, most of the election practices that we have today, right?
Yep.
It comes from the late 1950s, so many years ago. Many of us were not born. Even I was not born in the 1950s.
Thank you for clarifying. You were not born. I'm glad that we had that conversation, Mr. Ravi Philemon. In case you missed that, Ravi was not born in the 50s. Just clarifying. No. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you think some of these processes may be dated?
Yes. I mean, like there's a van that goes around the estate,
I saw.
broadcasting. Yeah.
Hey, I was literally on my way into the studio to meet you.
Right.
And I saw 2 different lorries.
Right. Yes.
From 2 different parties.
Yeah. I mean, it was from a different era where people lived in kampongs. It's very difficult for the candidates to go inside these kampongs, meet the people. So a lorry with a loud hailer is very useful at that period of time, right? But what purpose does it serve now?
Wow, that's an interesting thing. I don't know for sure, but it caught my attention. I won't lie. I didn't expect it.
Right.
I've not seen one of these party political lorries in a long time.
Right.
But having seen 2 in quick succession,
Right.
I'm like, oh, wow. Man, maybe psychologically as a voter,
Right.
you're like, wow, these fellas are damn serious. Huh?
Right.
They are literally booking lorries with
Right.
uncle smoking, coughing, and then the loud hailer blaring just randomly on the road.
Right. I mean, I did that when I first contested in 2015 because I was told that that's what you have to do, right? And I found out that you can't use that lorry to make a random speech to your residents. It has got to be pre-recorded, and that recording has got to be approved by the ELD, and it's that same message that keeps playing over and over and over again.
Okay, so they're saying you can't physically be at the back of the lorry with a mic.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Red Dot United.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is not allowed.
Yes, not allowed.
Okay, I understand. So that discouraged you from using the...
And I think the different feedback that we've gotten from, society as well has, I think, progressed on from more people living in the kampongs to HDB and all that. Sometimes the feedback that we get is a bit of a nuisance. My children wake up. Why is your loud hailer so loud? Children do sleep in the afternoon. So this kind of feedback that we got, and then we thought that, this more for show. I felt like that's my thought.
Okay. So you ascertain that maybe it's the effectiveness and the budget you spend and all the challenges you go through is not worth going down this path.
Yeah.
You chose to use your resources digitally instead.
Yes.
Bring me back, Ravi, to the candidates you were talking about. A lot of new candidates, you said. How have you, as a team, shortlisted or selected the candidates that you work with during elections?
Our party, like I said, is an accidental party, but it's never a party without a mission or a vision. We are very clear about that. In the 2020 GE, we were an 8 days old party. So we got our registration 8 days before the general election was called. But you know that no one formed 8 days before the general election is formed can put on the kind of show that we put on in the 2020 GE. It meant that prior to the registration of the 8 days, we have had months and maybe years of work developing the manifesto, putting together a team to research and write comms and comms material and so on and so forth, right? So, it happened because of many different reasons why we had to do that. And I made many different phone calls to many different people, prominent political leaders, and everyone would take my call because I have a certain goodwill with people, with political leaders. So everyone took my call, and I found out that no one was going to Jurong GRC.
Oh, this was in 2020.
2020. Because everyone was afraid of Tharman, that they would do very badly if they went up against Tharman. So I told my guys, now look, we are an 8 days old party. no one's going to give their vote to an 8-day-old party. So let's use this as a marketing campaign for us to build the brand of RDU. If there are no three-cornered contests, it's very likely that we will not lose our deposits because the deposits are important. Nobody has $70,000 lying around somewhere, to just burn it away.
Yes.
So I said that look at the 2015 GE, Sing First contested in Jurong in the 2015 GE. It was a Lee Kuan Yew GE because it was the time that Lee Kuan Yew passed away. And there was a lot of sympathy votes for Lee Kuan Yew, and they scored about 20%. And they had on their slate, they had academics, the full slate, captains of industries, and we thought that if they can get 20%, we probably can get 15%. That was my calculation. We can get 15%. Probably we still won't lose our deposit.
For the viewers, just to understand, what is the percentage you need to maintain or to get back your deposit?
12.5%.
Okay. So 2015, the stage is set.
Yes.
You've done your research. 2020, you come in as an 8-day-old party to eventually run in Jurong GRC, going up against
Tharman,
the mighty team that was being led by now President Tharman.
Right, yeah.
Set that up for us. What happened in the end?
Well, in the end, we got like 25%.
Okay, then it's much. Okay, very good. So payoff for the. You know what happens? Because there's a lot of young voters who might be listening in who don't know the full story. Right. So there's a happy ending. Yes. Because you didn't lose your deposit.
Right.
You got more than perhaps what you expected against quite a mighty team.
Right.
And now you're going to tell me some heartening stories from that year.
Well, we did much better than what we had expected. We were, like I said, we were hoping that we could do 15%. So that was our goal. Keep our deposit 15%. So on the polling day, right, I was assigned to Taman Jurong. Taman Jurong is really Tharman Jurong. So
I see. Politicians got jokes. It's not just Taman Jurong, it's Tharman Jurong. Okay.
Really it is. It is. So I was assigned to the polling booths in Taman Jurong. And the first the first counting booth that I walked into on the night the votes were counted, my heart sank.
Why?
Because I think we were scoring something like 11%, 12% at the count. So I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to lose our deposit?
This was on polling day. At
the end of polling, we go to the counting table and you count the votes.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Talk us through this experience, Ravi sir, if you don't mind. So all the candidates of that constituency are called together? That means whoever is running there comes together?
No. So what happens is the polling happens at a certain time, let's say from 8 a.m. I can't remember the time. It starts at 8 a.m., maybe closes at 8 p.m.
That's what we've been told. For this year, at least.
Right. So I think at 8 p.m., all the boxes are sealed. The candidate signs off on all the boxes. It gets loaded into a secured van, and then it goes to the counting centers. The candidates or their agents can follow in the van to make sure that it's not tampered throughout the journey. So it's secure. Your vote is secure. That's what I can assure your viewers, right?
Okay.
There's no vote tampering. No one is going to know who I voted for or who I didn't vote for. There's a lot of fear around this thought, this idea, right?
That people may find out that there's someone tracking who you vote for based on serial numbers.
Right.
And you're saying that there's no doubt this is completely untrue.
Absolutely no doubt.
The vote is 100% secret.
Yes.
And you've been through the process yourself.
3 times
you've been through the process, and you said you've witnessed the team from ELD fully seal your boxes.
Fully sealed. I've even witnessed it until the time it is thrown into that incinerator. It's all gets
6 months after.
6 months after. Right. 6 months after. So there are no doubts that your vote is secret. No one needs to be fearful that someone's going to know who I voted for.
Okay.
Not in Singapore.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Your story, you were saying, so you reached the polling booth,
the
polling center.
The counting center.
Counting center, okay.
And the votes were like 11% and thereabouts, I think. But I had a real fear that we were going to lose our deposit. As I was thinking that, Tharman walked in, right?
Oh.
So I looked at him and I said, I still remember that conversation because probably will never forget it for the rest of my life. And I said, looks like you're nailing it. And he said, you know how Tharman talks, right? No, Ravi, I think you're doing very well in all the other counting centers. So
Wow. Okay.
and I thought he was, and he said, for a 3-week-old party, you're doing very well. You know how he talks like,
Well, President Tharman, if you're listening in, that is Mr. Ravi Philemon doing an impression of his perception of you. Okay, not bad. Can pass.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was being nice. I know President Tharman from some years back. Not a friend, someone, an acquaintance, but someone where from time to time we did discuss some policies. And so I know him to be a gentleman. I know him to be a nice man.
Yep.
And someone who holds an honest conversation. So I thought he was just being nice to me. So I walked out of the counting center and I called Liyana, who was manning the counting center in Bukit Batok East, which was another ward in Jurong GRC. Hey, Liyana, how are we doing? And she was like, hey, Ravi, not bad, we are scoring 37, 38, 38%, And then I called Clementi, another one of my colleagues or comrades was in it, and we were doing very well there as well, over 35%.
Oh.
But the nearer it got to Tharman, it kept dropping.
I see.
Until we got 25%. So, so that is a Tharman effect, I would say. And I mean, it was very obvious, right? Even in the presidential election, the presidential candidates, 3 presidential candidates from the 2011 presidential election. I mean, in a sense, they went up against Tharman. And he scored 70%, that's a Tharman effect, right?
You, in a way, maybe, Mr. Ravi, you have a habit of tackling the big guns in the political scene. Because this year, your team is up against no Tharman effect.
Right.
But you are taking on Min Shanmugam in Nisun.
Yes.
Is this you're deliberately going after all the older guards with their constituencies that they've been with for a long time?
Right.
How are the feelings on the ground for your team for that in this Nisun GRC fight?
I think this time around is a little bit different. In 2020 GE, we knew that we are going in for a loss. That's for sure.
Okay.
This time we have walked the ground. The party has grown from an 11-member party to we have about 250 people helping us in many different areas. Not everyone is like walking the ground. Like some people are doing comms, some people are doing policy research, logistics, many different things that you need to do, right?
Is this all volunteer work?
Yes, all volunteer. None of them are paid. Yeah.
So they are working with RDU purely because they believe in these values that you and the team stand for.
Yes.
Can you articulate some of these values for us before you go into a bit more detail, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that is most important to me is accountability, transparency, and independence. And for me, I think we are too much of a transactional society, and sometimes that affects the well-being, even the mental well-being of individuals or families, between friends and so on. And sometimes this transactional value that we have, it's passed down to us through decades of policies which emphasize that, right? So I think it's good to recalibrate a little bit away from that mindset, because we have to. Because we live in very different times. The world is changing, and we need to listen to all voices. We need to include and incorporate all voices into the policy decisions that we are making. And so we cannot afford to be a purely transactional society. it will affect the very fabric of society that we're in. So I think we need to be united. Going forward, it's going to be very challenging to be united as one people.
It's a bit of a different fight right
Right,
now
right.
in Nisun.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
So I think that this time around, we have walked the ground. We feel very good, comfortable speaking to the residents, the voters that are there. We think we've got a fair chance. I think no one goes into a fight hoping to lose the fight. So we are in it to win it. But of course, winning comes in so many different forms, right? And I think we have already won because of the affection the people have shown us, that they've accepted us. So I think we've already won. But the actual crunch of the test comes on 3rd May. So we are looking forward to it. And I think we may be pleasantly surprised by the results that will come in.
Okay, that's good.
That's my gut feeling.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, Ravi, you know what? Hold that thought with those stories. We are going to take a short breather for some messages from our sponsors. Nobody, it's just me doing stand-up comedy.
But for some reason, you know what the Indian community has been blessed with or cursed with? Unhealthy eating. High blood pressure, diabetes, coronary heart disease. Health Promotion Board is on our ass every Deepavali. Deepavali is coming, eat healthy. I saw one ad, they told us to eat brown rice biryani. I said, have you lost your mind? You know who doesn't eat brown rice biryani? Brown people will never eat brown rice biryani. That's some white people shit, bro. They're like, lose the calories without losing touch with your culture. I'm like, you have lost the plot, Health Promotion Board. I'm like, anyway, who is eating biryani for its nutritional value out there? You've got the wrong menu, bro. Anyone knows a good Indian meal is supposed to make you feel a bit of acidity, a bit of heartburn, and a burning sensation in your anus the next morning. That's the only way you know it's a good meal.
Can I ask you about some of the things that you've been involved in the past few days? One of them was a roundtable discussion with other candidates who were running.
Right.
Tell me how that went. This was specifically on CNA, I believe.
It was, I went in expecting a debate. I didn't get a debate. They gave us a set of questions and we had to answer that question. I had to answer that. Those are very deep questions, right?
Okay.
And there's no way that I could, they were asking me to answer that question within a minute.
1 minute.
One
time
minute.
frame. Okay.
And I was like, how do I do this? It's 1 minute,
How are you allowed to share how far in advance you are given this?
1 hour before.
1 hour before everybody comes
Yeah.
in, and they give you hey, these are the talking points and
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
And this is the amount of time you'll have
Yes.
to respond.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the rules were clear for everybody.
Yes, it was clear for everyone. You can, of course, bring in a notepad or a laptop or whatever, so there are no issues. It was fair to everyone who was there. But I told Otelli that looks like I'm sitting for another exam. I was done with all exams 20, 30 years ago, and you're making me sit for another exam. I went in thinking that it was going to be a debate like what we have had in the past years, right? But I think Vivian was the one fronting the PAP in the past debates. And we all know that Vivian is a debater and a damn good debater. So he may be very comfortable in having the debate format. I'm not sure if Chee Hong Tat is a debater or not. And if the format was changed to suit him because he's not a debater. So these are some of the lingering questions that
These
remain
are questions in your mind.
in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But is there another one coming up? Is there another roundtable debate that you've been invited to or asked about?
there's a Chinese one happening today, but I think the format is going to be the same.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that caught my eye was some news on your recent Facebook thread about some of your posters and your campaign material being removed, hung upside down, being defaced a little bit.
I think, in the heat of the campaign now, so we are we don't have the the time or the resources to go and investigate every one of them. But we have taken note of some of these incidents. Like one of our posters seemed to have been taken down and thrown in a bushy area. So, I mean, we have taken note of it and we are investigating, we are compiling them, and we will think what to do about them at the end of the election. I mean, after polling day, that is.
Do you think such actions, again, not to say they're acceptable, but do you think it is expected in election season when people get emotional or angry or whatever they're going through?
I mean, I can understand that election can be a very emotional season. I'm not even suggesting that it is our political opponents who did it. Just could be anybody.
Sure.
Could be anybody, right? And I can totally understand, but I also hope that people will come to appreciate that we have spent thousands of dollars, to put up some of these materials. And for us, we use our local workers to put up the posters. And we are not hiring foreign workers to go around in lorries, and we have hired local workers. We pay them fair wages because I think we must walk the talk. To me, that is very, very important.
Right.
And so we were a bit slower than the PAP in putting up the posters. Like, I think the PAP, they did it like within a few hours, all the posters are up, right? But I think it's okay.
Yep.
I think it's okay because I think it's, like I said, we have to walk the talk. And if you can, one of our policy proposals is citizens first hiring policy, right? So I think we must practice it. If there is a job to be given away, let's give it to a citizen first.
And it's something that you and your party kind of lead by example.
Yes, correct.
Something that you would like to apply within your own ranks.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through that. Is it something you feel like other parties are also going through? Like, does someone randomly pick up a PAP flyer and throw in dustbin?
Possible. Absolutely possible. Because, this season, the emotions are all very high.
Sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. In the past elections, we have had both the PAP and the opposition filing police reports, right? Police reports are the last thing that we want to do. Of course, if it's a malicious act, we have to file a police report because it's criminal to be doing those things. But if it's not, we will investigate. We will see how to take this forward.
Picking up on your point about police reports, I read also that one of your colleagues, Mdm Liyana, right? I feel that there was some news about her filing some police reports to do with harassment that she has been facing online. Talk us through that a little bit.
I think it all started after we introduced Liyana as a candidate for Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC. And at that introduction, she made a speech. She spoke about why Malay and especially Malay Muslim women should not be treated as tokens. She spoke both in English and Malay. She spoke about having another public holiday, Lieutenant Adnan Day. She spoke about having the Malay language as an optional third language that students in schools can pick up if they wish to, a non-examinable subject, because Malay is the national language of Singapore. And after her speech, there were several comments which attacked Liyana in a very hurtful way, in a very racist way.
Yep.
I was the first one to pick it up, and I alerted Liyana to it. I alerted my comms team to it. I have a very good comms team, and they sieved through all the comments that were there. And it was very hurtful, very hurtful.
Yeah, I saw some of them.
Yeah.
And I think she even used some screenshots in her social media to
Right.
express
Yes.
her regret towards it. And
Yeah.
I paraphrase a little bit, but
Right.
it also sounded like these negative comments were driving her to do better,
Right.
to get herself charged up.
They were.
Yeah.
They were, yeah. But I mean, it's human nature, right? When someone's, I mean, you feel like you're fighting all this hate. You know, it's human nature to put up a strong front. But I always worry how she is behind the strong front that she puts up, you know. And as a leader of the party, I'm always worried about that. I want to make sure that she's really fine, not the strong veneer that she puts outside, but inside, you know, she's okay, she's not breaking down. I want to make sure of that, right? I mean, I totally understand, because I'm a minority, like Liyana. Of course, I'm not a woman. I don't face the kind of discrimination that a woman would face. But people have told me, if you don't like it, go back to India. I mean, hello, I'm a 4th generation Singaporean from my mother's side. I don't know anybody in India. What will I do in India, you know?
Oh, man. Those are some lived experiences. I can't deny that I have had the same thing said to me in the past.
Right.
Is she okay? If based on your recent interactions with her, how
She's
is she
holding up. She's holding up.
Okay.
She's one of the pillars of the party. People in the party look up to her. She's a very inspirational person. So, of course, my relationship with her goes long way, right? I found her on the eve of New Year in 2009 in Sembawang Beach. She was homeless.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've walked that journey with her. She has been my candidate in 2 elections now. So yeah, so that's how far our friendship goes.
Oh. So you met her when she was homeless on Sembawang Beach.
Yes.
And now she is running as an election candidate.
Yes.
In Nee Soon GRC with you.
You know, she's in Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC.
She's in Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC.
Yes.
Running as a candidate for Red Dot United.
Yes.
That is some story.
Yes, it is.
I was going to ask you, for someone who goes through this entire election process, albeit not finishing off as an elected MP, what do you think that does to an individual? Because you can see right now, within this election season, within the political sphere, like Mdm Liyana has experienced, there's a lot of scrutiny that everybody is under because it's in public. Everybody is very interested about election news. What do you think it does to a person, these campaigning periods?
I mean, for me, it does different things to different people, depending on how driven you are, what's your purpose in life, and all that. One thing I know is that people cannot live their lives in 5-year blocks because election comes once every 5 years, right? A lot of things happen in 5-year blocks. I mean, when I look at my own life, my grandson was just born in 2020 GE. Today, he is 5 years old. But the next GE comes, he'll be 10 years old, you know. So it's a big difference, you see? And we cannot live our lives in 5-year blocks. But for me, I learn my lessons. I think how things can be improved. And I look forward to the next challenge, you know, and how to better myself, better our strategies. So I from the 2020 GE to the 2025 GE, I think we have worked our strategy. We have decided that these are the things that, I mean, look at my uniform, right? It didn't come about just like that. We had an internal brainstorming session. We brought in professional image consultants. Okay, these colors work, these colors don't work, you know, and you need to be buttoned up right to the top. You know, this is where your badge should go in. If you're a man, you should wear a belt, tuck in your shirt. Because I think that sometimes people think that, the fierier the speech that you make, the better the chances you have of getting elected. But that's not true at all. I think every candidate has got 30 seconds to a minute to impress a voter. I think this guy, okay lah, can give him my vote. You know,
can consider.
Yes.
having this person represent me
Yes.
and my voice in parliament.
Correct. Yeah. And it goes a long way in how you present yourself to the voter. So we take a lot of effort in doing that. I mean, I run a tight outfit. I mean, I am a very, I like to think I'm a very kind, graceful person, but I can also drive people in a sense. I'll tell you, tuck in your shirt, please.
You're like a teacher. You're like a encik. You're like an encik in the army. Hey, young man. Hello, young man. Oh, your boots never polished today. I can ask you a personal question,
Sure.
Ravi. I have a very close relationship with one of your RDU members who used to be my teacher.
Yes.
This is, I think, one of your new candidates, Mr. Alwi,
I see, okay.
who taught me physics. He is the reason I didn't fail physics in college.
I see.
And when I saw him running, I was like, no way.
Right.
How is he doing? This is just for my friends who are watching this show. Alwi was our tutor in college. I went to him with an F in physics and he got me up to a B for A-levels.
Wow.
And then after that, I never did physics in my life.
Right.
Into comedy.
Yeah.
I am interested from all my guests who come in, especially during the election season, who are some of the candidates, apart from those in RDU, that have caught your eye? As someone who's a little bit of a political veteran in the scene, you've run in two elections before, two elections before this, right?
Two elections.
This is your third.
Third, yes.
So this year, amongst the new faces that you've seen, who has caught your attention? Maybe we can do one from the PAP and one from elsewhere, the other parties that you've seen, independents or whatever.
The PAP is tough. PAP is tough because I have not paid attention.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you.
Yep.
Syed Harun. I think he did as an NMP. He did fairly well in Parliament. I thought he was neutral.
Right.
And I mean, I have very young people in RDU who look up to him because he is in the region of mental well-being. He's a psychiatrist, or I think he's in that field, right?
Right.
And he has spoken up about mental well-being and so on and so forth, but from a very non-partisan manner. So for him to so close to the GE, to take off his non-partisan uniform, to put on the white color, to stand as a candidate of the PAP, I think in my mind that's not right. That's not a right thing. But whenever I meet him, he is always very considerate towards me, always shakes my hand. I have, of course, raised the issue that this is, I think it's not right.
You've been very vocal about it. Yes. In your press conferences.
Yes.
About how you don't quite agree with this particular format.
Yes.
Although, as you correctly pointed out, that constitutionally it is allowed, but you feel, I believe, ethically, you disagree with it.
Yes, that's right. And I think fairness is a value that is very, very important to a lot of Singaporeans.
How about from the opposition slate? I mean, you've spoken at length about some of your own candidates. Right. From the outside, anyone who you've been watching or who I don't know if you've had time.
I think Arifin. Arifin is about my son's age.
From SDP, right?
SDP, yeah. I think my son and him, they went to the same camp for national service. I mean, they were both in SCDF. So, so I think he's held himself up well, considering the kind of treatment that he has gotten from his own teammates.
Okay, go into that, Ravi. So, because you mentioned at the start of our conversation about how you put your candidates through some form of media training,
right?
Things you can, cannot, should not say,
right?
And the incident you're talking about, share with us a little bit more in detail.
Well, I think that it's very important for candidates to put up themselves in a certain manner, and at the end of the day, all candidates are ambassadors of the party and the party brand, right? So I think it's very important how you carry yourself, how you speak, what language you use. All that is very important. If you don't know, I don't expect everyone to know everything, right? When you come forward as a candidate. But I think if one candidate says a wrong thing, then the entire campaign of the political party is at risk. Then you're not fighting the campaign, you're fighting what your candidate said.
It becomes, rather than an election campaign, it becomes a crisis management campaign.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think, but I mean, so which is why media training is very, very important.
Sure.
Not everyone can stand up to media scrutiny. So, I mean, even in my party, we have some people who are very grassroots, who relate very well on the ground, but who will not be able to field questions from the media in the way that the media would expect them to field the questions. So for them, we have strict guidelines. Like I said, we have good comms team. So these are the things that you can say. You have talking points, 1, 2, 3. These are your talking points. Don't go beyond your talking points. If you have anything else beyond your talking points, look to someone else. Say, hey, what do you think about this?
Okay. That's interesting, right? Because public service is not just about being able to do media interviews and come across, like you say, in a positive manner. There's a lot of other things to it. And some of the various guests that I've had have told me, you need to be open to discussing and physically going down and handling waste management in the rubbish chute. You need to help people get a handphone if they don't have. There are some seniors who have no idea how to get a SIM card for their phone. Like you said correctly, there are some people who are homeless on Sembawang Beach. And maybe that is your way of giving back to society and serving them. So I take your point when you say that, the media training is important to help translate those good qualities that someone has into being able to communicate them to the voters.
Yes, because politics is also a lot about perception, right? And perception is not formed by what you hold dear, who you are as a person, but it's what another person thinks of you. And which is why I said 30 seconds to a minute for every voter to decide if I can give him my vote or not.
30 seconds, Ravi, sir. We are wrapping things up right now. Make your case. I have a lot of young voters watching. Perhaps some of them might even be first-time voters going to the polls on 3rd May. What would your message to young voters be in GE 2025?
I think the issues are very clear before us. Why do some people get to live in black and white bungalows the size of 3, 4, 5 football fields when our homes keep getting smaller and smaller while the price keeps getting higher and higher? And at the end of the 99-year lease, it goes to $0, while the billionaire class can pass on their wealth to generations after them. My fear is that Singapore will become a more unequal society if we don't arrest it now. So now is the time for you to do something about it. Make Singapore a more equal society, where every Singaporean feels like he is first-class citizen in his own country, the only home that we have a fairer Singapore for everyone who lives here. And I think we have a solution or a part of the solution to make it better. And which is why I think the young people should trust us and give us their votes.
Ravi, thank you very much for making time. Now, that was Ravi Philemon from Red Dot United running in the elections this year. If his views resonate with yours, and if that is the Singaporean voice that you want to hear in Parliament, 3rd of May is polling day. Go out there and exercise your right to vote. Hopefully you get some sleep.
Thank you.
At some point.
Thank you.
But we wish you all the best in the campaigning season.
Thank you, Rishi.
For the rest of you who are just here for the entertainment value, tune in to our next episode where we have another special guest. I've been Rishi Budhrani. This has been the Rishi Report. I'll see you very soon.